With me today is my friend and co-host Vita and our expert, Dr. Nadia, a holistic doctor. Hi, Nadia.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on the show.
course.
I love this topic of hair loss.
Me too.
Everybody has an issue with hair, or most people. And what do you suggest for people that are beginning to lose their hair, let's say in their 20s?
Hair is a big topic because there's so many things that can influence internally and then externally as well. And I feel like I am seeing younger and younger women especially dealing with hair loss. So the first thing that you can do is a blood test. Blood test to see, are there any hormones that are out of balance, any nutrient gaps that we can fill in, any inflammation that might be going on, any issues going on with the thyroid, iron deficiencies. We talked about the nutrient gaps. So yeah, the blood work is the first place to start. Then I think if you know that there's a genetic component, there are even genetic tests that we can look at that will tell us if you have genes present that are more likely to cause hair loss, and then what type of hair loss.
So if there's a gene that you're detecting that can cause hair loss, then you can just set up like a protocol for that can actually be prevented or stopped?
Yeah. So these tests are really cool because we can see not only what you might respond to, but internally, but also externally. So we can create even a custom topical formulation to see what, like based on what your hair follicles will respond more to based on your genes.
Do you see a lot of people that develop DHT over the years?
Yes, so DHT it's actually like a more potent form of testosterone, right? Dihydrotestosterone, and the testosterone gets converted to that. Usually what drives that conversion is going to be inflammation. So that's what, like lifestyle, we come back to lifestyle, whereas if there's a lot of inflammation, then that can help to decrease that conversion process. Also, if you're someone that's more genetically predisposed, then that is more of an issue. So it's an issue if you're driving that conversion. Does that make sense?
Yes. So if you have, so is that detected by a pattern or blood test?
So yeah, you can see it on a pattern. Like hormonally driven hair loss is like what we usually think about, like, you know, the male pattern loss, or like for women, it's like what the widening part is. And then there's tests that you would do that would either look at if you have that activity like if that conversion process is happening more. In women, it's not as helpful to test DHT in the blood because that conversion it's expressing externally at the level of the hair follicle. So you're not really going to see that in the blood for women. For men, it's helpful to test on blood.
So I had that once where I went to the doctor and he detected it by just using a comb with a pattern, and my hair wasn't growing. So then I bought a wig. So I wore a wig. Remember my wig?
It was a vibe.
I wore the wig for 2 years because my hair, it wasn't growing, and the DHT was attacking the follicle. And this wig was crazy because I bought the wig, sent it to the salon that I went to, and 4 different people worked on the wig. So the wig looked completely different. You couldn't even tell it was a wig. After like the whole salon worked on this wig.
Yeah, and then so hair not growing can actually be, because you can have multiple types of hair loss or hormone issues contributing at the same time. So usually when hair is not growing, it's that the hair is stuck in, like there's more stress hormone that's present. Mm-hmm. So that's the hair is stuck in a more resting phase. And you can have both happening at the same time, the DHT or the hormonally driven loss, along with like the stress that's not having.
So with your cortisol levels high, can that cause?
It can cortisol high, but then you can have here's the tricky thing. You can have normal cortisol, but at the level of the hair follicle also produces cortisol. Mm. So there's hormones that are produced. Like we're learning so much about this tiny microcosm, right, at the level of the hair, and it has its own set of, things that it's in charge of.
Bad relationship cause bad hair.
See, if anything else, like stop the relationship for your vanity.
Yeah. Stop the relationship so you can look better.
I need good hair.
You need good hair, you need good skin, you need to keep your weight down. Like it just all contributes.
Yeah, especially from like that energetic standpoint. Like if someone is bogging you down energetically, it's going to translate physically too.
What more?
So what can you do about postpartum hair loss?
Oh my God. Okay, so that's a great topic. I'm 5 months postpartum. And okay, I think what a lot of people need to realize, or women need to realize, is that the shedding is normal. During your pregnancy, your hair is basically in growth phase the whole time. Like everything's
bad.
really.
Oh, and not the loss. Like it was out of control.
But during
it was
pregnancy,
so big during,
yes.
and I couldn't do keratin. So I mean, this is an unpopular opinion, but I was a little relieved for the shedding. I was like, okay, we're getting back to
That's the thing, right? Because during pregnancy, all your hormones, they're growing, right? Everything's promoting growth.
Yeah.
So during that time, you're not shedding, which is a normal part of the hair growth cycle. Shedding is a part of that cycle, but during your pregnancy, you're not shedding. So after, usually around between 3 to 5 months postpartum is where everything starts to kind of reset. Your hair will go back to its normal cycle, so you'll start to shed again. So you're basically shedding everything that you would have shed during that pregnancy. So it can feel scary because you're seeing so much hair, which I just had like my crazy shed. And then
can't tell.
No, your hair is perfect.
but then it's
Imagine that she's having hair issues.
no, but then the thing is like it's normal for a bit, and then if it continues past a certain point, then you want to start checking everything. So really addressing like it's so many things that factor in, right? It's the hormonal fluctuations, it's your adrenal glands being taxed, like you're constantly stressed. Your thyroid is under, particular stress after giving birth. So I actually have been taking a cocktail of a few different things, and I'm actually coming out, I haven't even told you this, with a postpartum hair formula. It's in production right now.
That's so cool. So going along with that, I was told by a number of people to stay on my prescription prenatal vitamins and then to wean myself off of them to prevent the shedding. So after birth, stay on them for a little bit and then cut back to like 2 days a week, down to 1 day a week. Is that just an old wives' tale, or is there some merit to that?
There's some merit. That's definitely one part. That's one piece of the hair problem, right? Because it's multifactorial. So the nutrients are one part, and that's definitely going to help with, especially if you're nursing, right? You're depleting a lot more, so you want to have that extra vitamin intake. But then there's the hormonal fluctuations. There's the extra burden on your adrenal glands, on your thyroid, which is not addressed in a prenatal.
Okay.
So that's why
That makes total sense. So it's twofold.
It's multiple.
Multifold.
Yeah.
So what you're formulating
Is going to
is
address
everything, addresses all of
That's
it.
awesome.
But
That's
it's not
amazing.
going to have all of the because that's the other thing is like if you have your multivitamin, I don't want it to be that you can't take both of these together. So this is something that you can complement with your prenatal, with your vitamins, so that you're not getting too much, because that's a whole other issue, right? Just because something is good, the more doesn't necessarily equal better.
A lot of women are concerned with the hair loss, and if the hair already comes out of the follicle, is that the end for them, or can they repair even if the hair is no longer in the follicle?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, obviously working on the internal piece, that can take time, but we live in a time where there's so many cool treatments. So there's PRP, there's PRF, there's exosomes. I really like the exosomes because you're getting a specific amount of growth factors that are going to help with the hair growth. So there's a lot of different things that you can do now to help that.
That's interesting, because I thought once it was out of the follicle, you had to do a transplant.
No.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it has to do with if the follicle is still viable.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
So
so
to
if
catch
it's
it in
not,
time.
then what?
If it's not, then you can look into other options. But usually, if you're seeing it happen early on, which is why it's good to get assessed, make sure there's no miniaturization, address the internal component so that doesn't keep happening. That's why I like a twofold approach where you're doing the internal and the external, so that you can do some things before the follicles are, essentially no longer viable.
That's interesting.
Are there any like shampoos or conditioners that you recommend, or any products that we shouldn't use that maybe encourage hair loss?
So I like to products that have rosemary and peppermint oil. Both of these have good studies showing that they work almost equally as minoxidil. Again, in somebody who has a genetic predisposition where maybe their follicles are not going to respond and they might need something stronger, then they might have to go that route. But generally speaking, those are two great ingredients. And then as far as avoiding, really it's going to come down to more things like heat heat exposure, chemicals, like those are the things that.
But if you use I do every day.
Heat protectants go a long way. Oiling your ends. So like you can do practices where it's like, okay, you can oil your ends, you can do scalp massage, heat protectants.
I have one of these combs. It's like an infrared comb. It's a brush, and it's like
the
a red
glows
light
up.
therapy, but for your hair.
So I don't
heard
know.
of this?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Kind of freaks me out. I don't use it.
I've used it in the context.
You don't know what that light's doing.
Do you use it on your face?
No, of course
red light,
not.
you don't use the red
I don't go near that thing.
Red Light has a lot of good research, but also, there's so many brands. So there's some, of course, that are going to be better than others. Yeah. So if you're getting a really good one, that can be helpful. There's some studies that show that that's helpful. The comb, I don't know how good those are.
And it kind of like massages it. It just seems
Yeah.
really intense.
I've seen that more so in the context where like people might do it before they do a treatment to kind
Okay.
of sterilize the scalp. I don't know. That feels a little more.
I'm going to donate it.
Some of my viewers have actually had to have transplants because the hair was out of the follicle and the follicle wasn't a viable follicle to.
And sometimes, if it gets to a certain point, that might be the solution that they have to go down, or go to. But before getting to that point, we're told that it's either minoxidil or it's spironolactone or a transplant. But there's so much more. So that's why I'm a big advocate for getting your blood tested, check your hormones, check your nutrition levels, right? Do all of these things. See if you can do some exosomes, some PRP, some PRF, because all of those are still going to be, they can get costly, but they're still going to be cheaper and less invasive than going the hair transplant route.
But what if it's somebody, they're having like the regular shedding, but then they see the hairline changing? That's a person that's a candidate for some kind of treatment.
If you want to change your hairline, then the hair transplant is probably going to be your best bet.
It's painful, right?
Yeah.
It's like super painful from what I understand.
It seems, I think
So
it's
this
painful.
doesn't change the hairline. It's
Yeah, but the transplant itself it's a process, right?
It's a process.
It's a
It's a
process.
major process.
Yes. I like to tell people to pair it with the exosomes. Like you can do that beforehand
Right.
so that you're maximizing your
then
results. But for changing your hairline, then that. Yeah.
in general, what's a good protocol for our viewers if they haven't gotten the blood test or extensive?
That's a great question. I think having a good amount of protein intake is helpful, where our hair is made up of different amino acids. Having good mineral content, which I feel like it's overlooked a lot. So good multi-mineral, collagen, and just keeping processed fried foods out, because that inflammation is something that will shift the hair out of that growth phase and push you into a more of a shedding, or again, going into that conversion from testosterone to DHT. So
That makes sense. And then what about biotin? Because everybody swears by biotin.
I stopped it. So I was taking biotin regularly, and then I saw a study that said too much biotin is harmful. Is that true?
So I think the study that you're referring to was that too much biotin right before taking your blood work could skew certain results. So you always want to stop supplements theoretically 24 to 48 hours before you get blood work done. But I think that in the hair supplements, there's just too much. You don't need that much unless you have a specific deficiency in biotin. That's only one part. That's only one piece. I think that, vitamin D, zinc, selenium, copper, like these are all important as well, right? So focusing on just biotin is a little silly in my opinion.
Well, no, you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I take biotin for my hair."
Right.
Yes, and all the gummies they're peddling online.
Which have all this like sugar
It's so
and
bad for you.
fiber
It's like eating
syrup.
candy.
It is.
Yeah.
So gross.
Yeah.
That's why I like injecting with vitamins. Because I know I'm getting
I like did a vitamin cleanse. I'm gonna give you a panic attack when I tell you how little vitamins I take. I literally am doing vitamin D, calcium, magnesium, and zinc, and fish oil.
I don't take a lot either.
Really?
Yeah, she has me on very little
Yeah,
supplements.
you don't need them.
No.
If you're eating properly and not eating ultra processed
And you can
foods.
base it on blood work.
Back to the ultra process.
Do they cause hair loss? It's going to come out, ultra processed foods.
I think indirectly they certainly can, because they're creating
Look at
inflammation.
that.
They're disrupting your gut,
Yes.
environment, so that's going to affect absorption. There's probably there's lack of nutrients in ultra processed food, so I'm sure on some level indirectly.
Thank you so much for joining us again. This was great. We love having you on the show. Can't wait for you to come back again.
Thanks. I can't wait either.
If you like what you're hearing, share this episode with your girlfriends. Let's keep this conversation going and don't go away. We're talking relationships up next.